Hello.
USA. 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 You're going to get this done, guys. Michigan is going to win us this election in 53 days. Who's ready to change this country? Let's get this started. So we got a town hall today. We're going to take questions from you all. I think we got a bunch in this bowl already. Why are you in Michigan today is the first question. I'll tell you why. And then we're going to go straight down the line, and you're going to hear from everybody up here. We're here because Michigan is must win to win this country back, all right? Our founding fathers made a sacrifice 250 years ago. There's 56 men who signed the Declaration of Independence. You want to know what happened to them? 12 of them had their homes ransacked by the British and burned to the ground. 5 of them were captured by the British and tortured until their deaths. 9 of them died in the American Revolution, and 3 more of them had their own kids die in the American Revolution. They didn't do it for them. They did it for us so we could be here 250 years later, enjoying the blessings of liberty in the greatest nation known to the history of mankind. So the reason we're here today is that, you know what, 2024 is our 1776. This is the moment where we fight the American revolutionary ideals. That's what we're running to revive. And you know what? Donald Trump's going to do his part. Put him back in that White House for that second term. He's going to go even further than he did the first time around. He's going to do his job. But we're here to ask you, you are going to do yours too. If we're going to save our country, it's going to be because we save ourselves. So let me ask you something. If you want to restore law and order in this country, vote Trump. If you want to seal the border in this country, vote Trump. If you want to revive national pride in this country, vote Trump. If you want to grow the economy in this country, vote Trump. If you want a better life for your children, vote Trump. If you want to make America great again, vote Trump. That's why we're here. God bless you and your families and our great country. We got a republic to save. I'm going to hand it over to our friends to each say a couple of words, and then we're going to open this up for Q&A. Let's do this. Thank you, my man.
Thank you for starting it out that way. I'm Tim Walberg, Congressman from the 5th District of Michigan. They invited me here today because you haven't seen a Republican conservative congressman, Republican. And a proud Michiganian. I'm not a quack, so I'm not a gander. And I'm delighted to be here with Vivek. I'm delighted to be here with all of these people because we're here for the same purpose. We're here to get Donald Trump elected and pull all the rest of what he needs behind him. We can do that. We can do that in the state with a senator for the first time in a long time, 30 years. We can have Mike Rogers as a senator. He's a Trump-endorsed Senate candidate. He knows what he's doing. And we can keep the Senate, we can get the Senate, keep the House as well. I serve on the Energy and Commerce Committee, deals with all things. John Dingell, my predecessor. I notice you said I said my predecessor. I'm there now on that committee. He used to say when asked, what do you cover in the Energy and Commerce Committee? He'd point to a globe. We touch everything. And all of the stuff, a lot of which has been used against Trump. Meta, so we control ourselves, that we have tax dollars left back with us. That's what Donald Trump wants to do. Get rid of the tip tax. Get rid of the overtime tax. Leave it in your pockets. So, doggone it, we cannot do anything but everything. And then when you're finished doing everything, step up and do one more thing. And oh, by the way, yank somebody from your family, yank somebody from your neighborhood, and say, you do the same thing. Let's put a smile on our face as we do it. At the very least, it'll cause a liberal to wonder why you're smiling. Tim Walberg, Michigan 5, proud Christian, conservative, Republican, Donald Trump supporter and endorsed.
Hey everybody, my name is Hima Kolanagireddy. I'm an immigrant from India, became a citizen in 2015, voted for Trump in 2016, wanted to get involved and do more for him because I really loved him, I still love him, and became a precinct delegate. That was the first time in the immigrant community, trying to tell them that, have you ever read the platform on both sides? Do your own research. Don't let other people tell you how you need to vote. And biggest thing that I have, that I'm trying to actually save is this country, the values that I really have come to love, the opportunities, the American dream that I could chase because I set up an IT staffing firm. It is rated as one of the fastest 50 women-owned companies in America a few times. And all that only happened because of the opportunities that we have here. I mean, my mom was never thrilled that I got into politics. She's like, why would you do that? Politics is so dirty. And then I asked her one question. Do you think I would have had the same success if I were in India? She's like, no way. I said, don't you think I owe it to this country? That's exactly. Like Vivek says, he has a funny name, but then I have a funny accent too, along with the funny name. So with all of that, we never play victim cards. Most immigrants are very hardworking people. We don't want anybody to treat us as victims. Give us handouts or like treat us special. All we say is give us a platform, equal platform, where it can be played, where it can be a fair play, and we will show you what we can do. But right now, the government is against immigrants. We're all privileged because if your parents went to a college, then you're privileged. If you have decent income, if your parents have decent income, then you're privileged. If you always were good in math, you're privileged. But that is what we push our children to do, study, study, study. We don't let them have a life. We show them two fingers. We say, do you want to be a doctor or an engineer?
What about a lawyer? Hey, lawyer.
Yeah, I know. So we don't give them a choice. We just push them because we want them to succeed in their life, and the education is how we succeeded in this country. We know that that's the only path to success, no matter where you come from. So I feel like I have to do something to preserve the American dream for the next generation. I have 3 children, all of who are Republican. They're pursuing their careers, they worked hard for it, and I want them to have an opportunity at the American dream that I had, and I succeeded, and I want them to succeed, and I want that to be available for all our children. So I'm the current RNC National Committee woman from Michigan. A lot of people don't know what that is. Every state has 3 people that sits on RNC. One is the state party chair, and there is a male and the female. Thank God for Republican Party, there's no confusion. So as you can see, I'm the female representing from Michigan. Thank you very much for being here. I know you're here because you care. You care for this country. You care for the values that for which we all stand. You want to preserve this state and this country. And we all believe that we have to put Trump in the White House. If you're doubtful, you're here to know why we have to put Donald Trump in the White House. You will know tonight why we should absolutely do it. Thank you.
Talk about the American dream. Talk about the diversity that we have here, not just here in the room and on the stage, but the fact that we're all here to make sure that America stays the land of opportunity, that it's based on free market economics, private property rights, our First Amendment rights, our Second Amendment rights, those of freedom. And we know that as you look around this room, there's small business owners, there's people that have to shower when they come home from work because they put in a hard day's work, that they want to see a better life for their children, right? And there's no better time to see the difference between the socialism that the Democratic Party represents, that so many people have fled over the years.
in the hope and opportunity that Donald J. Trump and the Republican Party represents of hope and growth than what we see today. Just look at the last 4 years compared to the previous 4 years. Inflation. American families are paying $12,000 more per year. $1,000 more per month because of Bidenflation. And as much as the media doesn't want you to believe that Kamala Harris had anything to do with the Biden-Harris administration, they've been trying to hide from that. At the end of the day, the failures of Biden are the failures of Harris, and we have a question going into the next 4 years. We have a question over the next 4 years. Are we going to change course from the inflation, the open borders, the endless wars overseas? Or are we going to make America more affordable, America more secure, our families more secure? And it's something why I know, Vivek, why you've come up. We appreciate you up here and being a strong advocate of saying it's a time of choosing, of where we're going. What kind of country are we going to leave? Are we going to go full Venezuela? With price controls, where people are trying to flee from the control of the nanny state? Or are we going to decide to actually go to our roots of the rule of law, the free market system that we have? I'm Eric Nesbitt. I'm the Senate Republican leader here in Michigan. It's a little different spelling, Eric with an A. Really, there's a reason for that. Middle of 5 kids, all started with A's. And by the time Mom got to me, it was either going to be Eric or Erica with an A. I probably would have grown up a little tougher if it was Erica with an A. But each of you that are here have a network of friends. And you each have a story to tell. And the impact that your family, that the economy's had over the last 4 years on your family. And you need to tell the story. That are we going to be a country of lower taxes, less inflation, more energy production, allow entrepreneurs to invest in and grow, or are we going to be a country that follows the path of serfdom and tyranny? And there's a real division that's there. But you can't just stop with Donald J. Trump at the top. You're right, Congressman Walberg, you got to vote for Mike Rogers. You got to vote Republican all the way down. All the way down. And even positions that you may not even know there's positions, like the Wayne State Board of Governors. We got Sonny ready over here. Raise your hand. But the woke curriculum in the schools that's going on in our universities, we need strong people in those positions to stand up for those values. And so I appreciate you guys spending some time here and knowing, this is a great energy. We had, 24 hours? Turnaround, and this is the crowd that we have. And so thank you so much. Let's go get to work.
Give yourselves a round of applause, guys. I love you guys being here. Tudor.
Good evening. I'm Tudor Dixon. I'm so excited to be here. And I'm here mostly because I love you guys. I really do. I love this state. I love the people in this state. And as I've gone around the state, I hear one sad story after another, and I'm done with our sad stories. We're going to bring this state back, and it's going to start with Donald Trump. And there's no one in here that knows better than me. Every vote counts. And we've got to fight back against their lies. Can you believe what we heard the other night? Now you see. They don't want we, the people, because they know that's exactly who Donald Trump is. They want to keep us silent. And they want to lie about us, and they want to scare everybody away from us. And that's why it is so important that every single one of you goes out there and speaks truth and speaks often. The silent majority can be silent no longer. People in this state are especially afraid because we have such tyrants in office. We heard it the entire time I was running. Everybody from the small business owner to the billionaire would say, she's so vindictive. she'll come after me. Weaponization of government. It happens at every single level. And they believe that if they stop Donald Trump, they've got us all, and we are not going to let that happen. Look at what is just happening in this state with the 3 women who brag every day that they're out there for your rights. What have they done for our kids in school? Destroyed our schools. And that's another lie. They went out there and they said when every single Republican goes out there and runs, they say Republicans are going to destroy the public school system. I'm like, what more could we do? I mean, kids might end up reading at the end of it. You know, that's kind of like a goal for us. But I'd also like to see our kids safe in schools. Those are the reasons that we're all here today. But one of the other reasons that we're here, and something we're going to talk about, is that I go grocery shopping every week. It is devastating. I've got a family of 6, and it's tough. I look at my kids and I'm like, yeah, we're not doing this year. We're not doing this year. These are tough times. Families are making tough choices. And when I say tough choices, it's like, do we go to the dentist? That's your child's health. And that goes directly back to Kamala Harris. She is harming every single family in this country, and we are not going to let it happen anymore. Not this year. This year we stand up. And that's why I love you guys, because I know you're going to do it. I mean, we walk in here, could there be more energy in this room? And like you said, this is a day. So let's go out there and elect Donald J. Trump.
Hello, Michigan. I'm so happy. I love you guys. I am the really loud math pain in the ass lawyer for the greatest president that ever lived. So I'm probably most known for screaming outside of courthouses because I love this country and they don't give a shit about the Constitution. Did I tell you I have a mouth on me or what? I keep it together for TV. I see, as President Trump would say, I see all the news, all the big news. It's all right, censor me, it's okay. I've been gagged by judges with President Trump. I can't sit down, I'm sorry, I'm not a sitter. Not who I am. I have had the greatest privilege of being sanctioned $1 million for suing Hillary Clinton and the DNC. I am so fortunate to fight the horrific DOJ that has permeated our states through DAs and AGs. And I will continue to fight for America with President Trump. But I will tell you the only reason that I fight and the only reason that I am loud and the only reason is that because I represent the best client in the world and the only person that will save the Constitution, America, and our children. That is Donald Trump. I want to specifically talk about Michigan and why I'm excited to start my little campaign tour with the rest of them, but I was not a politician. I am not a politician, but I recently joined the campaign with President Trump because my Judeo-Christian values, I am married to a Jew, I am a proud Chaldean Arab Christian. And I just happen to love my country, and no one is taking my country back to Baghdad, which is where my family fled. So that is why I am here, because the Christian values, the values of Michigan, the values that I have seen today, and I've been here for 24 hours, and I've got to tell you the love that I have seen today. We are going to save this country. Take your friends to vote, because she will ruin everything we stand for. It's not just about economy. It's about safety. Our borders, 325,000 families, children separated because of our open border crisis. Fentanyl coming in, destroying our kids, destroying us. You want to talk about economy. She wants to take our money, taxpayer dollars, and have illegal aliens, and I don't care what the heck she wants me to call it, illegal aliens have transitions in cells, and we pay for it. And you know what? She will get up in a debate and say she will give you $6,000 for this and $25,000 for that. Well, guess what that means? We pay for that. Money is not free in this country. So don't buy it. Don't listen to her, and stand up for what is right in this country and vote Donald Trump November 5th. Vote early.
Give Alina a round of applause. So we're doing these town halls across the state and the other swing states. We're going to open this up. I want to hear from you. I want to tell you the spirit of this, though, is Kamala Harris. We talk a lot about her. She's not a communist. She's not a Marxist. She's a cog in the system, actually. I mean, call her a communist, it gives her too much credit. It assumes that she has an ideology. I mean, say what you want. Bernie Sanders, I like the guy. I don't respect his policies. I like him because he at least has policies, even if they're ones that I disagree with. Kamala Harris is one step worse than that because she's got nothing. It's a flag that waves in whatever direction the wind is blowing. So we're not up against a candidate here. We're up against a machine. And the question is, are we ready to go in and dismantle that machine? That's what this election is about. Now I'm going to speak some hard truths. We were supposed to have a red wave in 2022, right? Everybody remember that? Never came. Now they tried to blame Donald Trump. They blamed abortion. It's deeper than that. I think we as a party, we've got to level up. This is our moment to step up because we're not just going to criticize Joe Biden for a year, then we criticize Kamala Harris. No. This is about who we are and what we actually stand for. What does it mean to be a conservative in the year 2024? What does it mean to be a Republican? What does it mean to be an American in the year 2024? It means we believe in the ideals of 1776. It means we believe in merit, that you get ahead in this country, not on the color of your skin, but on the content of your character and your contributions. That's why we're against the woke DEI agenda, against affirmative action in this country, and the racial group quota systems. It means we believe in the rule of law. And I say this like so many of you here as the kid of legal immigrants to this country. That means your first act of entering this country cannot break the law. And that is why we will use our own military at our own southern border. And you know what? If we've had the largest influx of illegals into this country, we will have the largest mass deportation in American history. That's not racist. That's not xenophobic. It's what it means to stand for the rule of law in the United States of America. What does it mean to be American? It means the people we elect to run the government ought to be the ones who actually run the government. Not the shadow government and the deep state, the three-letter agencies that are running the show today. Which actually reminds me of the second mass deportation we need in this country. It's not just millions of illegals out of the United States. It's millions of unelected federal bureaucrats out of Washington, D.C. That is how you drain the swamp. And you see, these aren't black ideas or white ideas or Democrat ideas or Republican ideas. They're American ideas that we fought a revolution to secure. And the question for us is, do we believe those ideals still exist? I actually do. Not in some fake politician way. We do. But we're going to have to do the hard work of reviving them. And I'll tell you how it's going to happen. It's going to be by all of us, not just me, not just Donald Trump, not just the other people on this stage, but every one of you starting to speak the truth in the open again. Say in public what you will say in private at the dinner table. Say it with a spine. Say it with conviction. Say it with respect. But part of respect is that you respect your neighbor enough to tell him what you actually think. Not some woke-washed version of it. That's how we get this country back. You hear on MSNBC about saving our democracy. What does that mean? The best measure of the health of our democracy, I'll tell you what it is. It isn't the number of green pieces of paper in our bank account. It isn't even the number of ballots we cast every November. The best measure of the health of American democracy is the percentage of people who feel free to say what they actually think in public. Right now, we're doing poorly. But the only way we're going to fix it is all of us starting to speak openly again. That's what we're going to do today. So let's open this up. I got questions up here, but you know what? I haven't seen a room this packed. Look at the energy you guys brought. I'm going to bring it to you. People who came here and showed up. The floor is yours. Ask us the questions. We're not going to hold back, and I don't want you to hold back either. Let's open this up. That's how we get this country back, all right? Open it up right here. I love it.
My hat comes off to you, Mr. Vivek Ramaswamy. I saw
Thank you.
the way you did that interview on the Breakfast Club when you told the story of John Quincy Adams Jr. I literally cried.
Thank you.
It was the most beautiful rendition of Americana I've ever heard. You, sir, are truly special. You're an American treasure. You are
I appreciate that, brother. It means a lot to me. I planted this question.
I'm a small content creator, small-time journalist. I'm very busy. I work also in cement. I'm a blue-collar guy. I was honestly a street guy when I was younger. I went legit. I work hard. I make videos pro-Trump, pro-America, and I'm being stymied at every level by horrendous censorship. It's getting worse. I know Mark Zuckerberg wrote that letter to Jim Jordan, how he was sorry and all that. Bull crap. You are still censored. I've had 8 videos taken down today.
Yeah.
I try sharing. I make documentaries about the E. Jean Carroll travesty of justice. I make documentaries about how the DNC invited in Jeffrey Marsh, a notorious groomer. And I can't even get my material out there. I'm even shadow banned on X.
I'm sorry to hear that, man. We're live streaming this. I hope they didn't censor you this time because you're going to be heard here this time around, all right? So I appreciate that. Tudor, you want to take this one? I know this is near and dear to your heart.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we've all felt this, and I do think that Elon Musk has come to somewhat of a consensus that we shouldn't be, but I think he still battles. There are still people within these organizations. And I think it's going to be that we're going to use as many different methods as we can. Rumble is a great source to go to. Rumble is great for conservatives. And I would encourage all of you to go to places like Rumble. There's a great podcast. It's called the Tudor Dixon Podcast. Yeah. But places like Rumble, but also, make sure that you are responding to folks out there that are conservatives, because people will see that too. So just be very active and make sure you're engaging in as much social media as you can, because even your local followers make a huge difference. And that's what we need to remember, that social media may be not comfortable for everybody, but local influencers become very important when it comes to elections like this, because on the other side, they are using their local influencers to go through the community. And so maybe you feel like, I'm not getting as big a reach. Maybe don't focus so much on how far your reach goes in the nation. How far can you get your reach in Michigan? Because that's what we need, is people in Michigan to hear that there is a better opportunity out there.
Well said. You want to say, add in a word?
I think it goes to something bigger, what you were talking about earlier, Vivek, is that the cancel culture we don't just see on social media, but what we see in higher education, what we see in business and work. You go ahead and say something, you're afraid to say something, get fired. And it goes back to something even deeper on the free market economics of the individual over the state at the end of the day. 4 years ago, the government was saying, you're a critical worker, you're not a critical worker. You could have a job, you can't have a job. And at the end of the day, it's more than just the censorship on social media. It's the fact that there's so much control on government deciding what the economy is going to do. And now with the media, and this is why social media is so important, is that with the media, they don't even hide it anymore.
And the thing with the social media, this is the heart of your question, my man, and then we're going to go to the next question, is it's not even private companies doing it. Right? I love that you talk about the free market, but it's not the free market when government actors are telling these tech companies, you got to censor this through the back door, what they couldn't censor through the front door. I'm sorry, that's not the free market. That's the invisible fist of government. And the people who did that, they broke the law. And you know what? If ordinary citizens break the law, they're held accountable. It shouldn't be any different for government bureaucrats either. We need accountability. So thank you, my man. I appreciate that question. We'll go to the gentleman in the back, the former basketball player right there. I'm making an assumption. You are a former basketball player. Good. Good. You know when you see one.
I'd like everybody to think about the car when you see
Congressman, why don't you go first, and then Hima, we'll hear from you.
Well, it sounds like it's a pat answer, but it's the Constitution. I've taken an oath of office in the state legislature 8 times in Congress now. Took it once, served 1 term, and they took me out in the Obama landslide, so I know what term limits are. The people did it, but 2 years later, they said, oops, and they put me back. But it's the Constitution that we stand up. Now, sometimes that makes it difficult with my constituents. When I say, I love you, as we've told you tonight, we love you. We really do, because you're American citizens. But when you ask me to do something that I can't do, when it doesn't offer equal benefit, security, and protection, that's Article 1 of the Michigan Constitution. Eric has to deal with that. In the U.S. Constitution, we have not only the articles of the Constitution, but with the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 10th, the amendments that go on. And they make it very clear how we're supposed to live, how we're supposed to look at things. We talk about Meta, we talk about social media. We looked at Section 230 in Energy and Commerce Committee. We're responsible for that. We like to whack big tech, but we also know that Vivek and others wouldn't have the ability to get information out if we didn't have that wonderful thing called the internet that can be a wonderful tool, but can be a danger as well. So Republicans on energy and commerce looked at Section 230 and what we could do, and ultimately decided there has to be a light touch. It can't be government control. We have to let it work. There are dangers there. But that's when it comes to the fact of exactly what Vivek said. We got to speak up. Clear, concise, and not woke. That's right. Firm, with a smile on our face. Remember, that makes a liberal worried while you're smiling. But it draws people, and it's common sense that comes out. So yeah, my answer is the Constitution, whether I like it or not, whether it fits with my constituency and getting reelected at times, or it makes it more difficult to say, no, I can't do that. Oh, you're going to take me out? Okay. That may be the case, but you're going to have to work hard. So that's my answer.
I respect that. Hima, you want to share your thought?
I think for me, as an outsider, the first things that I noticed is the freedoms that we have here. Most of the people who come from other countries know that there is no country like America. And I have been to over 20 countries in my life. And I come back here, and it's always like home. Yes, this is where I can be me. And yes, I understand the censorship, it's happening everywhere. It's not like as a Republican, it's easy for me to be in business. I'm in IT field. Most of Silicon Valley is all Democrats. It's like, and it's everywhere that I'm a Republican. And I'm loud and I'm proud of being a Republican. It's not so easy for everybody else. But then this country guarantees everybody freedoms that are not guaranteed in many other countries. Faith, family, freedom. And those are the 3 things that I hold dear, and I feel like this is the only country that stands behind you if you want to exercise all of these 3. Imagine that you can be a boy in the morning, something else in the afternoon, a girl in the evening. All of those are freedoms that are still guaranteed, whatever you want to think it is. Like it could be a mental issue or it could be whatever, but then they still can choose whatever they want to do. Can only happen here. You have freedom of speech. Many countries you don't. And that's exactly why I love this country. Those are the things that we have to make sure that we preserve for the generations to come. Because I feel like more and more, the next generations wouldn't even know if we don't stop it here and say that, no, this is guaranteed in our Constitution.
Okay, give some other people a chance to hear from right there, ma'am.
First, I want to say thank you for your time and your talent for representing us here. I can probably venture to say everyone in this room came out 4 years ago and voted Republican. What I'm most concerned about, and everything that was said tonight, this afternoon, evening, is spot on. But what I am most concerned about is election
I hear you. I do. So I'll say kick off with a couple of my thoughts. If the panel wants to jump in after that, I'll give you a perspective as well. So look, let's get to very practical solutions. We need single-day voting on Election Day as a national holiday with paper ballots and government-issued ID to match the voter file. And I believe English as the sole language that appears anywhere on a ballot. That's not too much to ask. But we got a chicken and egg problem. We got to win in order to do it. I know President Trump's committed to that. The legislative agenda is at the top of the list. Once and for all, securing elections in this country. We don't want to be arguing about elections. I mean, the truth is, if we get to that point in time, I'll make a pledge on behalf of everybody in this room, if I may, that we are done complaining about election integrity if we get to single-day voting with paper ballots as a national holiday on Election Day with government-issued ID required to match the voter file. That's our deal with the country. We're done. We don't want to be complaining about the outcome of elections. We want to move forward as a country. Unite the country. Make Election Day a national holiday. That unites us. Take one day to say, just one day to think about our civic responsibility to the United States. The rest of the day is we can go through our motions, doing what the iPhones tell us to do on a given day. Fine, but one day we stop and say, this is our duty to our country. So I don't think it's a Republican versus Democrat issue. But we have this election to get through. Yes. And the truth is, 50.1 is not an option this time around. We're skating on thin ice. A landslide minus some shenanigans is still a victory. That's the only choice that we have left, all right? So I'm going to give you a bit of bitter medicine, but it's what I tell my kids. It's what I preach to the left. It's what I preach to kids on college campuses. I think we got to preach the same to our own side. The number one factor, not the only factor, but the number one factor that determines whether you succeed in achieving your goal is you. It's not the only thing that matters. There's a lot else that matters in life. We can complain about it. Life is not fair. Never has been. It's not an even playing field. But it's what Hima said earlier. Hardship is not the same thing as victimhood. Hardship is inevitable. Victimhood is a choice. And this year, in the next 55 days, we don't choose to be victims. We choose to be victorious, okay? So are we rolling the ball uphill? We are. Is winning this Michigan by 10 votes good enough? It's not. But that's why every one of you, you have a responsibility. Every one of you. You have your own unique God-given gifts. Those of you with money, great, use it. Support the victory. Those of you without that, but with extra time, great, use it. Knock on some extra doors. Make some extra phone calls. But every one of you has your job to play. So we're not going to have a country to save, left to save, if we complain that the other side was unfair. They are unfair. Anybody watch that debate the other night, that 3-on-1 onslaught? Well, that's the way it works. But the truth is, we're fighting for something bigger. This is not just about complaining about fairness. Fairness doesn't exist. This is about saving a republic in our final hour of need. And if we fail to do it before my 4-year-old son, who sent me off today before I came to Michigan, if he's in high school before we get this right, I'm sorry, we don't have a country left. Okay, that's the window we're working within. This may be our last best chance to do it. So is this fair? No, it's not. Make it too big to rig. Make it actually happen and win by a decisive enough margin. That's how we unite and save this country. It's the only option we've got. After that, we secure our elections. Congressman, you want to give us a word on this, and then we'll open this. We'll go to you next.
I appreciate you asking that question. I hold town halls all across my district. I'm not afraid to go there, like Harris is afraid to take questions. And I get those same questions. Congressman, how can I trust the fact that my vote counts? Well, and you ought to ask that. There's plenty of reasons why you ought to worry about that. I was one of the 140 members of Congress on January 6th who voted to object to the electors in a number of states. I was one of 3 Republicans in Congress who signed on to object to Michigan's electors. And for the next 2 years, I was canceled by PAC groups, by manufacturing corporations and others for being one of those. So I get it. I get it. What our Secretary of State did here, what she told her clerks to do, was illegal. So even if the vote count came out right, it was done wrong. But, as Vivek said, that's then, this is now. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. I'm probably still voting there. I know what cheating is all about. I campaigned with my dad for Goldwater. I put up signs. The next day I went and put them up again. The next day I went and put them up again. The next day I went and put up. That was old man Daley's machine that worked that way. We could complain about it or we'd get out and work. In Monroe County, when I got that under redistricting from John Dingell, it was Democrat. It is now the strongest Republican voting county of my 10 counties for me. Why? Why? Because I decided that I'm not going to complain, but these blue-collar union workers, AFL-CIO, UAW, Teamsters, iron workers, they have the same values that I have. They just need to find out. And so we told them that. And then I said, you need to vote for me. And you need to vote for Donald Trump. When I complain about Donald Trump's personality on occasion now, they jump all over me. What do you mean? He talks like us. What I'm saying is, we got to forget that. We've got to get out and vote. We've got to get to the polls. We've got to grab people, get them to the polls. We've got to talk it up as if we are winning, and we are. The media won't tell you that, but we're winning the hearts and minds of people. And in that case, someday we'll have a national holiday. Someday we will take it as serious as those that have to stick their thumbs in a bottle of ink and vote, and then go out on the streets knowing that a terrorist may take them out, but they voted. Are we willing to do the same thing? Are you willing to be an election worker, a poll watcher, a ballot counter? Are you willing to stand there and take down pizza boxes from the windows? If we do that, we'll win. We'll win.
I'd like to add something to that, because I think some of you are out there going, but we have the most corrupt Secretary of State in the country. That is true. There is one big difference between 2020 and today, and that is that the RNC is now involved in elections. And this is not ignorance. This is not that she is naive. She is an attorney. She knows the law. She is full on corrupt. That is the problem that we have with Jocelyn Benson. She has now, I think it was just her 8th lawsuit that she lost. She went, and when he says what she did was illegal in 2020, it was illegal. That's what happens when you lose your lawsuit. And now we are prepared for 2024. But the last one that she lost, she took to the Michigan Supreme Court. And think about how twisted this is. Because if you just want a legal opinion on getting RFK off the ballot, if you really don't know, even though you're an attorney, but like I said, number 8, I think, she went to the Court of Appeals and they said, no, he doesn't have to be on the ballot. You can take him off. Okay, so if you're the Secretary of State, don't you feel like you did your job? You found out. He can be taken off. I can take him off. Why wouldn't she? Why would she want voters to vote for someone who's not going to be president? Why would she want to mess with someone's vote? So then she takes it to the Michigan Supreme Court, which is all Democrats. The 2 Republicans were like, this is absurd. Absurd. And she gets him back on the ballot. So your concern is warranted because she's still playing games. She's an attorney and she knows she's playing games, but we need to be there to watch them.
So I've been told we're unable to take any more questions, but I promised her we would take one. So you get the last word, and then we'll wrap it up. So look, the question is, politics, it's off of what you left off, Tudor. Politics is corrupt. What do we have? The dishonesty of candidates at every level. And the truth of the matter is, and this actually brings us back to why I'm supporting Donald Trump at the core of it is he is somebody who came from outside of politics. Right? I think we need people who go into public service to actually serve the public. People don't have to be going through this. You know, his best moment in the debates, and I'll say this about the debates, it's funny how this worked, right? They had their debate with Joe Biden as the earliest ever presidential debate in recorded U.S. history. I don't want to pat I wish I was wrong. I wish I was wrong. It was as a setup to be able to swap him out. And the public they have the public falling for the trap. Because for a month, they went after Joe Biden. And so even many of my independent friends, tell your friends in Michigan the same thing to see through it. Because they said, no, the media is not biased. They went after Joe Biden even harder than they went after Donald Trump. That was part of the plan, only to build up credibility that they're now using to prop up Kamala Harris. But anyway, the truth of the matter is, the people we elect to run the government mostly, they're not even the ones running the government. It's a machine. It's the deep state that sits underneath it. And if you want a candidate who's going to get in there and finally not just bring a chisel, but bring a jackhammer to break the thing, if needed, fire 75% of those federal bureaucrats, send them packing, shut down agencies like the U.S. Department of Education, send that money back to the states and to the people. Go in there and break things, you know? There's always a risk. Maybe you don't cut enough fat. That's what most people do. I'm going to go in there, I'm going to cut just the right amount and see how it goes. No, it doesn't work because they're going to grow right back. What Donald Trump's going to do is, you know what, you might go in there, you might cut so much fat that maybe you cut some muscle along the way. Maybe things are a little bit rough at times, but you know what, that's what it takes to actually get this right. So it takes somebody from the outside who's doing this for the right reasons. That's why I'm supporting Donald Trump. And I think we need more of that in American politics. Many of you are here. One of the things that I love about Hima is an outsider. Doesn't have to be doing what you're doing at every level. It's not just the presidency. At every level, from Congress to local to state level, that's actually what we require. And if you do, right, this is our moment. We don't have to be. Donald Trump said this at the debate, and it was true. He said we're a nation in decline. It's true. It's not. Ronald Reagan, if he were here, wouldn't tell you that it's morning in America right now, because it's not. But it can be. See, we don't have to be this nation in decline anymore. We don't have to be at the end of the ancient Roman Empire. I don't think so. I think we still can be a nation in our ascent. A nation whose best days, not in some fake politician way, but in a true way, a nation whose best days are actually still ahead of us. A country where we will still look our kids in the eye and mean it when we tell them that you still get ahead in the United States with your own hard work, your own commitment, your own dedication, and that you know what? You are free to speak your minds at every step of the way. That is the American dream. All right, that is what we are running to. That's what won us the American Revolution. That's what reunited us after the Civil War. That is what won us 2 world wars and the Cold War. That is what still gives hope to the free world. And if we can revive that dream over group identity and victimhood and grievance, then nobody in the world, not a nation, not a corporation, not a virus, not China, and certainly not Kamala Harris is going to stop us. That's what American exceptionalism is all about, and that is what we will revive to save this great country. Thank you all for coming out today, guys. God bless you and your families, and may God bless our United States of America. Do not stop fighting until we get this job done, save this country, and our best days are ahead of us. Thank you, guys. God bless. I appreciate you. Thank you.
I just have to plug in one thing. In response to the lady's question, she said, how can we support corrupt candidates? Nobody's perfect. We all have shortcomings. We are not voting for a pastor. We are voting for a politician. So all I say is, if they believe in the top 10 things that are important to you, they are not a rhino. If they actually uphold our freedoms, then they're not a rhino. You can still support them. Trump is not perfect, but look at the alternative. So that's how you have to look at it. Nobody is perfect. And everybody that is concerned about election integrity, if you know my background, that is where I have taken birth. Like in TCF is where I actually took birth. All I say is, what are you doing? You are an influencer in your own community. If there are 300 dead people voting in your precinct, find 300 alive people who have not been voting and counter that. So there is always a solution to the problem, but what are you doing to win bigly is what Trump says. What does he mean by that? We have to swamp the vote, so much so that they can't cheat enough. They only need it to be 1% or 2% to be able to cheat. If we can keep our margin higher than that, there's no way they can cheat.
All right, Donald Trump tsunami. All right, let's see that in Michigan. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.